So recently I did a poll asking you guys what's your favorite car on the channel. Not surprisingly, the G80 M3 got about 50% of the votes, but to my surprise, the 435, the F32 got about 30% of the votes. The X3 M40i got about 5%, and then the F30 surprisingly only got about like 15. And that really surprised me because honestly guys, the F30 has been on this channel longer at this point. I've done more to it. It's undergone a bigger transformation. So I kind of imagine it would be the second most popular car on the channel. I always expected the M3 to be the most popular. I don't know if it's because I started off with the 435 or maybe the 435 has the N55, which I know a lot of you guys like, but whatever it is, since you guys like this car so much, I decided to keep on going with the build, despite the fact that I sold it to my brother. That's right guys, if you guys didn't know, this car is no longer mine. Although I did start the channel with it, I did sell it to my brother, but before selling it to him, I had some plans for it that I never actually got to do. I always wanted to turn this 435 into a 435 GTS, of course based on the M4 GTS. It's basically like a race car version of the M4. It has a lot of cool distinct features on it, and as a matter of fact, I actually installed some of it already on this 435. Well, actually not too much. The only thing I installed so far are these M4 GTS style taillights. At some point, I did have a front lip on it. It was a super aggressive JHP style front lip in carbon fiber. Now I did remove it when I sold this to my brother because that front lip was a bit extreme. So we actually still have that front lip. We just took it off the car. And as you guys can see here, this thing is super aggressive. Just from here, which is pretty much where the bumper would end, it comes down maybe like another 4 inches or so. So this thing definitely made the car look a bit like a lot from the front, and then also lowered it a lot. So that's why we ended up removing it from this car. However, we're going to be replacing this front lip with another one that actually resembles the one on the M4 GTS. And here is the new front lip for the 435. Now, as you guys can tell right off the bat, it looks a lot like the JHP style front lip that was already on the 435, but there's a few key distinct differences, ones that make this front lip a lot more practical in my opinion, as well as make it look a lot more like the GTS style lip on the M4. So just a few key differences guys right off the bat. This one is plastic, it's gloss black. It currently has some plastic wrap on it, but we'll take that off before we install it. Whereas this one is carbon fiber. Now obviously guys, having a carbon fiber front lip, especially on a low car, doesn't always end the best. This is actually my second lip, the second JHP style lip that I had on this 435. The first one I destroyed, and even this one took some damage. Honestly, I had to repair it. So the fact that this one is plastic, one, it makes it a lot cheaper, and two, it makes it a lot less susceptible to breaking or cracking. Well, at least it'll make me care a lot less if it cracks or breaks, because obviously it's plastic. This front lip is probably about like 150 bucks. This one is like 500 plus bucks, so a huge difference in price. So now, not just the material guys, also the design itself. Again, this one looks more like the GTS front lip, and one of the reasons is, as you guys can see, on the side it cuts off. This is going to be underneath the bumper, so you won't see the front lip on the side of the bumper. You'll only see it in front of the bumper, whereas this one here, it does go to the side. That's not what the M4 GTS does. The M4 GTS will have it like this. And then another thing guys, remember how I said this one is super aggressive? Well, this one is a lot less aggressive. It pokes out a lot less. Again, more similar to the M4 GTS, and again, just a lot more practical than this one, which made the car super low and super sketchy to drive, if I'm being honest. So in this video, we're going to be focusing on installing this GTS style front lip for the 435. However guys, this isn't going to be the only mod that we do to this 435 to make it look like an M4 GTS. Like I said, obviously I already have the taillights. Now we're going to have the front lip. Now obviously guys, it's not going to perform like an M4 GTS. It's not going to be an M4 GTS. However, I think it would be cool to have like a baby version of an M4 GTS, that of course being the 435 GTS. I know that's going to trigger some people, but this is all just for fun guys. Obviously we're not going to change any of the bumpers on the car, so it's not going to look like an M4. We're not going to put an M4 badge on it. We're just going to put some of those GTS style elements on the 435. Again, this front lip just being the start of that journey. And since we took this off, the front end of the 435 has been looking a little naked in my opinion. I think this car really shines when it has a front lip. So although I'd love to put that one back on, it's just too much. However, the M4 GTS style one, that's going to be just right. So we're going to start installing this front lip, but in order to do that, we have to pull out the M3, put the 435 more like in the center of the driveway so we can really get started, because to do this properly, we're probably going to take off the front bumper on the 435. That way we can actually bolt in the new front lip to make sure that it does not go anywhere. So with that said, let's get started. All right, so as you guys can see, I pulled in the 435. Now we're gonna get started on installing this front lip. So like I said, we're gonna remove the front bumper on this 435 to better do it. So I'm not gonna bore you guys with that whole process because it can get a little repetitive. So with the magic of editing, All right, so as you guys can see, we now have the bumper off, and we can go ahead and get started on cleaning this thing off and then installing the new front lip. So I know the front bumper is currently on the ground, guys. Don't worry, it's an old bumper. It's all scraped up underneath there anyways. And again, there's a whole bunch of adhesive left over from the previous lip that we have to get off before we can start installing the new lip. So that's gonna be a bit of a boring process, so I'm not gonna bother filming it. We'll just clean it, and I'll show you guys the actual installation of the new lip because I think that will be most interesting. Alright guys, so as you saw from those last few clips, we got the front lip mounted on the bumper. Now we only used 3M tape so far. We are going to be drilling into the bumper as well as the front lip and mounting some bolts. However, as I'm sure you guys noticed from those previous clips, we actually put the bumper back on the car in the meantime. That was just honestly because when we were trying to line up the lip on the front bumper on this box, it wasn't really working out too great, so we just put the bumper temporarily back onto the car. We mounted it up with 3M tape, and now again, like I said before, we're going to start drilling into the lip and into the bumper and putting some nuts and bolts to really secure the lip onto the bumper. Alright guys, so another quick update because I didn't film everything that just happened. So as you guys can tell, we did finish mounting the front lip onto the front bumper with some nuts, bolts, and washers. So just to kind of show you where I chose to mount it. So we did right over here, which is actually a very crucial spot because if you guys can tell, that is this part of the lip where the fitment gets the most sketchy. And in my experience, when you have a front lip on these bumpers, specifically for the F32, the F36, pretty much any 4 Series, where it kind of curves in like this is where the lip tends to kind of like peel away from the bumper. So it's actually really important that we put a mounting point right over there. So besides this spot, we also have another spot right in here, which you guys probably can't see because of the lighting, but this is like right on the edge of the front lip, also another important spot. And then we have 2 more right in the front, as you guys can see, and then the other side we just did the same thing. So with all these mounting points, this lip now feels solid. Again guys, we did use 3M tape, but these bolts are really what's going to be holding in this front lip, and honestly it looks really good so far. Now for now, let's just finish that and I'll show you guys the finished product. Alright, so as you guys saw from those clips, we have the front lip officially installed on the BMW 435. So here is another look at the front lip. Again guys, this is just plastic and it's finished in glossy black, so it actually looks really good on this 435, especially considering we have the roof wrapped in gloss black. So again, if you guys can't tell, it kind of just finishes off right over here, so it doesn't go all the way to the edge unlike that other lip that we had. So it's a little weird in that way, but if you guys ever look at an M4 GTS, that is how BMW designed it. So this of course is just mimicking that. Yeah, overall it looks really good. Now, is the car lower and are we going to be scraping it more? We definitely will. However, it's not as bad as that previous lip. It's definitely way less aggressive. And again, it is plastic, so even if we do scrape it, even if we do break it, it's not as big of a deal because this thing, again, I think it cost me about like 150 bucks, whereas that other one was like 500 plus. Something I'm not a fan of is this little like decal on the front here. It's a little tacky in my opinion, but it's at least subtle enough that you don't really notice it right away. And again guys, keep in mind the goal at this point is to make this like a 435 GTS. Not in terms of performance, we're not gonna make it an M4, but just have like a 435 with those GTS M4 style elements. So of course with the front lip now, the GTS taillights in the back, and something else we wanna do, just to kind of give you a little hint there. We have some other ideas of what to do to make this a 435 GTS, but I don't want to spoil too much. So if you guys want to watch this build, if you guys want to see more content about the 435, about the F30, about the X3, about the M3, whatever car, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more videos. But with that said, guys, that pretty much wraps up this video. So hopefully you enjoyed it. And yeah, this video is pretty much done, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.